I actually was plugged in on the other line and forgot which one we were getting on here tonight. So I see a lot of people have joined us. So just welcome everybody. I'm just catching up for the moment. If I can get my camera turned on and get this other thing out of the way here, we'll get things going. There we go. There, I feel a little more human now. Good deal. Well, Steve-O, I was just getting on. So I know we've got people plugging in from a little bit of everywhere, and it's hard to tell all the different places. So I just welcome all of you. I see Carolyn's joined us, and I see, of course, there is the RTM group. And so I just kind of catching up to speed here. It's been an amazing week for me. I got to tell you something. It's just been over the top. So not only what everybody is doing here at New Zealand, Singapore, and everybody climbing on, getting lined up for what's about to happen, but I tell you, people are going nuts waiting for this product. So and I've been kind of pacing the floor myself too. So Steve, I know we've got a lot of people coming together with us here, so I know you wanted to cover some things yourself tonight. So
well, sure, Jeff, and a lot of people have asked me to talk a little bit about the product Balance. I know that product means a lot to you. Why don't you share just briefly what you've seen with people using the Balance product in your particular organization?
Well, for me, I know I dug into a lot of the science years ago because I wanted to kind of look in the mirror for myself on what obviously those sugars meant and and some other things too, because I know that the problems Judy was having, they were so dramatically impacted, and yet even where trying to control blood sugars, for instance, I realized she went to an endocrinologist. So when we begin to add in that endocrine support, it made a tremendous difference in helping kind of balance things out. Not to use a pun because that's the name of our product now, but really to me that's just critical. And I call it the mad, sad, happy, glad pill because just the response we've had. I remember the day that we introduced that product, and well, there were a lot of things that were going on, and we were at this event, and I'd gotten up early that day, and that's rare for me. Don't go there, but I had a headache, that morning, and I was just kind of rubbing my forehead and kind of dealing with it, and of course I always get offered, would you like an Advil or something? But I'm just an anti-drug sort of person, and you said, hey, we're just about to introduce this here. Why don't you take a couple of them? And you tossed me a couple of the Balance. As a matter of fact, I think it was only 2, if I'm not mistaken. And, of course, me, I'm the kind of person that if I have a toothache, I just complain when it hurts. So within just I want to say a short time, but I don't know if it was 10 minutes or an hour and 10 minutes, just I begin to realize, and you asked me, how you feeling? And I thought, oh, I feel great. It just sort of disappeared. And, I can't, literally take claim, that was exactly what changed, but that's the only thing that I know I did different. But even today, I see a big difference in how I function every day if I'm not taking that, because, I guess I don't know if it's a red hair or what, but I've been kind of that extreme person my whole life. So staying in balance for me means everything. And I get in that day sometimes when I don't even feel like getting out of bed. I'm kind of down in the dumps. And some days I feel like I'm unstoppable. But I think there was a name they gave me for that years ago. But when I stepped into using this level of balance and this level that you finally, were able to get hold of, Steve, I know you were dwelling and working on that for almost a year just to lock in on the right stabilized formula. Because again, I know Sam is on this warpath about he doesn't want just another Me Too product. And, this ingredient was filtering out there in different forms and fashion. People started to hear about wild yam, yada, yada, but nobody had this level. And so it took you a while to get your hands on what we now have formulated, or should I say you did, into what we have as Balance. And that same afternoon, sitting there with a group of people, and one lady was, we were kind of joking with her. She was experiencing some severe female complications at the moment. Her face was getting red. She seemed to be warming up really rapidly. And she laughed and said, I think I'm having a hot flash. And if I'm not mistaken, you did the same thing to her and said, here, take a couple of these. And it was just a little bit later. And I don't want to exaggerate, but it wasn't very long at all. And she was just like, wow, and so for me, it's proof is in the pudding, as they say. It's great we can talk science. It's great we can say we've got the best state of the art. But, when people take it, What do they tell us? And to me, that's everything, especially in this type of business, how we stand and represent something so unique. So Steve, I'm just honored to be a part of this, but I'm the end result. I'm the guy that said, you're right. I believe in it now. So thank you.
Well, thank you for that, Jeff. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we are going to talk about getting into balance, if you will. So let's see where we are here. All right. Well, I'm still showing something that I don't want to see here. Give me one moment.
If you need any technical support, I'll see if I can get Chris to help us, because you're not going to ask me, that's for sure.
Holy cow. You're not kidding. All right. There we go. From beginning. Let's see if that does it. There, that's what I was looking for. All right. So I want to talk to you this morning, about getting into balance. And that is, of course, a play on words. We have a great product here at Alovea called Balance. It's our endocrine support product. And as Jeff said, it took me a while to formulate this product. I had some help. I'm not the sole formulator, but I am the principal formulator of this product. And the reason that we needed this product is we have an endocrine system that needs to be supported. And Balance is specifically designed to support the proper function of the endocrine system. Now, the endocrine system is responsible for producing hormones. And hormones are the chemical messengers that tell our bodies what to do and when to do it. It tells our glands, our organs, etc., what to do and when to do it. And the endocrine system is made up of our glands and organs. Now, if you look at the screen here, you see that there are all these different glands and organs listed here. And those aren't all female. Both sexes have those, except, of course, men have testes and women have ovaries. But other than that, we have the same endocrine system that we have to support. Now, hormones control our mood, growth, development, metabolism, organ function, reproduction, and even more than that. So we have these endocrine disruptors in our modern society, and they are chemicals, cosmetics. A lot of times women will put different makeups on or different cosmetics, and they end up containing certain toxins that actually get into the bloodstream, and they disrupt our hormones. Diseases have a tendency to wreak havoc on our endocrine system, medications, certain foods, and stress. Now, another key component, especially with everything going on today in the pandemic world that disrupts hormones, is the hand sanitizer. Many of the commercial hand sanitizers contain hormone disruptors that can actually wreak havoc on our system, especially when we're using them over and over again. So that's another thing that you all have to be aware of. So when you have unbalanced hormones, it can cause impaired function of the pancreas and the pituitary and thyroid and adrenal glands, which can lead to high blood pressure, mood swings, high blood sugar levels, decreased bone density, declining libido, hot flashes, night sweats, adrenal fatigue, and thinning hair. So one of the biggest complaints that people have when they go to the doctor is, I have no energy, or my energy levels aren't what they used to be. Well, a lot of that could be adrenal fatigue. Because we live in such a stressful world, we get a text we don't like, we see a tweet we don't like, we see a Facebook post we don't like, somebody cuts us off in traffic. For those of you that have children, parenting, all of these things can cause stress. And when we have stress, every time we have that stress, we start to produce more of a specific hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is known as the fight or flight hormone. And back in pioneer days, you'd see a wild animal and your adrenal glands would kick up and you'd run away, and it would give you that extra burst of energy. That's why our creator put it in us. But now, because of the stressful lives that we lead, we have a tendency to overproduce cortisol. And when we overproduce cortisol, yes, that hormone is a necessary hormone, but overproduction can actually be a little toxic for us. So when we have too much cortisol in the bloodstream, our fat cells start to store it. Now, our fat cells aren't just for storing extra calories, they actually will also take toxins out of the bloodstream to release back later so that our body has the ability to slowly get them out. Otherwise, we can run into a detox effect. And that's why so many people feel that they have this, what they call keto flu, when they go into ketosis and they start melting fat away at a very rapid pace. So, what happens when you have this excess cortisol is, for men and women, it can develop that spare tire around the middle. For ladies, it can be the saddlebags on the edges of the thighs and the hips. And so, when you're producing all this cortisol, you're not producing enough of your other hormones. Why is that? Because we only have so much of the raw ingredient in our bloodstream to make all of our hormones. Now, there's certain hormones that we start to decrease with when you get into your early 20s. The pituitary gland, for example, makes a hormone called HGH, human growth hormone. And there are a lot of different supplements and supplemental human growth hormones out in the marketplace. But if you do a little research, you'll find that those can be quite dangerous. The only safe, completely safe human growth hormone is the one that you make yourself. Well, because of the necessary function of the fight or flight hormone of the cortisol to protect us, that takes precedence over all of our other hormones. So when you're taking, when you're looking at these particular overproduction of these certain hormones, you have to take it away from somewhere else. The pituitary gland and human growth hormone suffers the most first. Now, we continue to make human growth hormone all throughout our life, but we need to make sure that we are supplying these raw ingredients. Now, the key ingredient in this product called Balance is from the wild yam. It is called diosgenin. And diosgenin is that active molecule in the wild yam. Well, at Alovea, we don't just look for the active molecules that are science backed. We look for the best of the best. We look for best in class. We use a 16% standardized diosgenin. That is very important because it is 33% more potent than even some of the higher diosgenin products in the marketplace. And research on diosgenin shows a broad spectrum of health benefits. Balance has the highest level of diosgenin, and that's going to allow you to get the best results. It's a precursor to what you're doing to produce the raw ingredients to make hormones. Now, when you look at these other products that are out there, a lot of them they put into caplets, they compress that. We have people taking 4 capsules a day of Balance. We could have compressed that into a caplet, but many of you have not heard my position on caplets. Sometimes they can be hard to break down, especially if our digestive tract is not working properly. And we end up just passing those while they're still fairly whole, and we don't get the full utilization. So instead of doing 2 caplets, we let that loosen up and we put it into 4 capsules. So 4 capsules equal typically 2 caplets of what other people are producing in the marketplace. But again, we're 33% more potent in our diosgenin than most of our competitors. Now, what are some other ingredients in this product and why? L-lysine. L-lysine is an amino that is very important. It supports the production of hormones. It can help reduce stress-induced anxiety, and it's not the only ingredient that does that here. And it helps the body's formation of collagen. Now, collagen is what keeps us youthful looking. And again, we can get outside sources of collagen, and that's good. There's nothing wrong with taking some outside collagen, but nothing beats producing your own. So when your body can produce collagen properly, that is a big, big win for us. So we have this L-lysine in there to help support that and address one of these symptoms of aging. Glycine can improve or enhance mood. You know, Jeff mentioned that he calls it his happy, sad, glad, mad pill. Well, this is the happy part. Glycine is that particular amino acid that makes our brain feel good. It's something that makes us happier, and we do produce it. But when you have a little more that you add to it, you just feel that much better. So this is a mood enhancer. It makes it a little harder for you to get angry, a little harder for you to lose it, and it makes you feel that everything can just be okay. It can help improve sleep quality. And again, that is because it says to you, everything is going to be okay. It is that signal. And when we're happier and we have less anxiety, we actually do improve our sleep quality. Many studies have shown that. And this also plays a natural role in the production of human growth hormone, which I just talked about a moment ago. Now, red sage. This is the only herb at this time in any of our product line. Herbs are, in many situations, not that different than drugs. You have to be very, very sparing in how you use herbs because they can interact with different things. But this herb is a specific herb called red sage or Dan Shen. And I put this in here because it reduces night sweats, it reduces menstrual problems, acne, and improves skin issues. Now, we do recommend that children be at least 12 years old before taking this product, because again, that's when we really need to look at function and balancing of hormones. It improves blood circulation, especially this red sage, because it helps open up the capillaries. It allows for microcirculation, better circulation of the eyes. People have told me I started taking this product and it seems like my vision is just a little clearer. It clears up. Well, that's because it's opening and helping oxygen and blood supply get into the tiniest of places. And of course, this is another ingredient. I said some of these overlap that helps improve sleep. And again, a lot of that can be attributed to the oxygen delivery and the microcirculation. Next is L-arginine. It improves blood flow and improves sexual function. Now, again, that is a little bit of a vasodilator. It can open up the blood vessels. It allows for better flow. A lot of studies have been done on L-arginine for that. It improves mental capacity. Again, that's the oxygen getting to the brain, helping with that. And it aids in the repair of blood vessels. Why? Because it also helps with our nitric oxide production and delivery. And when that happens, you start to dissolve those fatty deposits, those plaque deposits that are in your arteries. It's not an instant thing, but over time, it starts to dissolve that and allows for better pliability and softness in our blood vessels. It's when you have hardening of the arteries that you can run into a whole myriad of problems where they split. You could end up with all kinds of difficult situations from that. You can end up with aneurysms. There's all kinds of things that can happen as our veins and arteries start to harden. So by flushing that out, keeping them soft, that is something that we can do to preserve youth and to keep our health up. And beta-sitosterol. Beta-sitosterol helps reduce the symptoms of an enlarged prostate. Now, a lot of different men have come to me and said, do I need a hormone support product? Do I need an endocrine support product? I'm a dude, I'm a guy. And I say, well, here's an interesting statistic here from the United States. There are more adult diapers sold to men than there are women in the US. And it is because of prostate problems. So if a man says to me, do I need to take this? I say yes. And if he says, what's the worst that can happen if I don't? Well, I say, depends. So for those of you that get that, that is the #1 selling adult diaper in the US. So it's a little play on words there. This improves sexual function, the beta-sitosterol, for both men and women. It reduces the symptoms of menopause, and it naturally lowers bad cholesterol. And of course, none of our products would be complete without our Ace Mannon technology. Each ingredient in there has a powerful aspect to it. But when you add the synergism of the Ace Mannan, it just makes everything work better. And of course, our Ace Mannan is called Alovea AE, Alovea Ace Mannan Extract. And when you do this, you achieve a phenomenal result. It's not like 1 + 1 = 2. It's more like 2 × 2 = 4. It actually creates that synergism between all of the products together. So to cap this off, I want to go over these particular points. I know I went through a lot of different things here, but these are the things you need to understand about balance. It helps support the body's endocrine system and healthy hormone production. It reduces the symptoms of hormone-related issues in both men and women. It plays a natural role in the production of HGH, and it improves sexual function. So I'm going to open up the lines and answer questions as people have them. And Peng, you never disappoint me. In the balance fact sheets, it states that there are some who think that bioidentical can cause overriding. Why was this mentioned? To be honest with you, I would have to see that fact sheet. Bioidentical hormones, when you take them, that could cause overriding, but the balance is not going to interfere with that. A lot of people that are on different bioidentical hormones and working with their endocrinologist, I advise those people, work with your doctor, but see what you can do to replace what you're doing naturally. Don't use synthetics. Try the balance, because a lot of people have gotten amazing results. People have come up to me crying over this particular product and what it's done for their life. And I don't want to brag too much. I don't want to pat myself on the back. I didn't come up with all the science from this. I'm just the guy that took all the science that was there, put it together, and put it into this product. Let's see. In Wikipedia, it states that diosgenin is used for commercial synthesis of cortisone. How do we explain to customers asking these questions? Many will search Google. Well, diosgenin has been used commercially. It has been synthesized and made into birth control and all kinds of things. We're using it in its natural state. So there's a huge difference between that. You can take any chemical and synthesize it and change what it is. I mean, they alter chlorine molecules and sugars to make sucralose, to make these different artificial sweeteners. That doesn't mean that they're good for you. Sugar itself is not a great substance for us, but it's still better than these fake things that are out there in the marketplace. Anybody who studies nutrition can tell you that. So it's the same thing with any of our ingredients. It's just like people can take the aloe and they can filter it through charcoal filtration and do all kinds of things to it. But once they take the Ace Mannan content out, it's not going to be nearly as effective. It may just be a good coating for the lining of your gut, but you won't get the actual health benefits out of it. Anything can be taken in that way, Peng. So if people are researching it, listen, the best thing that people can do is try the product. It is a natural product. It's not going to hurt them. And if they do that and they get the results, it doesn't matter what they see or read, because results speak for themselves. And that's what Jeff said to kick us off. That was so great. I need to see who else wants to be brought on here. Let's see who we've got in the attendance room. Jeff, you want to pipe back in with anything?
Well, I just was listening to what you were talking about, Steve, and that was my concerns many years ago as well as here. But because I watch, what the product is about, and well, for Judy, there are some things, and the doctor was talking about good nutrition, but a lot of what we found out there, well, it sounded good by everything they said, but when you really dug into it, it was not what they were really referring to. And so one thing I found as I dug into what we're doing here, and I waited for you to come up with this particular formula, it just seemed like the deeper I dug into it, the truth came out, and I really understood the difference between what is general on the shelf and other people might be referring to. And I think the public in their own right has been somewhat misled. They're actually comparing everything that they're hearing. A lot of things that is going on is just being driven by a sales presentation or a sales perspective. I want to get behind all that and find out, is this real what they're saying? And that's really where I came at with this. And for me, it was just try it. And I know when Judy began years ago with just the first level of this technology, I mean, of the Diagen, and it made such an impact in helping her control how she fluctuated so bad in her blood sugars. And one thing led to another, and over the course of a number of years, she was taking literally almost handfuls a day, 8 to 12 to 14, to be able to keep her in balance, if you will. And but when we presented this and it finally came together at this level, Steve, I got to tell you, she began to drop even more amount of insulin. And you remember that day, and she had some bouts with some low blood sugars, and we dropped another 3 to 4 units of insulin after adding balance to her regimen. And so we just saw nothing again but improvements. I had some concerns about people years ago when they would ask me about hormonal support, and should they not, and some people dealing with hormonally related cancers. And there were many studies out there that were done that said hormonal additives and all could be quite detrimental. But when they began to look at this plant-based ingredient from its natural form, they found that those who chose in studies did so much better. And so again, I realized, there's a big difference between what they say on the shelf out here and what others are referring to versus what, was originally the truth when it came out of the plant. And so it's been, for me, I'm just real skeptical, not to be negative in any sense, but everybody says this and says that. And then especially with what we do here with Alovea, and I represent the products we have, I want to be sure that when you tell me and everybody refers to us having the best, I want to know that. I want to know that deep inside me when I look in the mirror. And so I kind of study up on your studying up, if you will, not to say at any point I distrust what you're telling me. I just look for affirmations and validation, and again, with results. So yeah, that's all I could really add to that.
And we believe in transparency in this company, Jeff, and we have the science to back up what we do and the products that we've developed. And I'm excited about that. Now, one of the things I do interact with a lot of doctors, a lot of different people have me connect with physicians. And one of the things that I'm often asked is, what about somebody who is sensitive to having too much estrogen? Somebody that has been dealing with a specific condition and they can't have any kind of estrogen. Well, these particular phytosterols mimic estrogen. And what they do is they take up the estrogen receptors in the body, but they're not actually estrogen. They're phytoestrogens. So they don't work the same way. And when that happens, it actually could prevent this excess estrogen in the bloodstream from attaching to those receptors and causing more harm to the person that is concerned about this. So that works out very well also. Ken, how can we share this balance with somebody suffering from a pituitary tumor? Well, I always advise people to work with their doctor, show them the information on the product, and make sure that they understand. And I'm always willing, like I said, I'm always willing to talk to physicians and help provide a lot of science, which that's often what I do when I'm talking to the physicians. And most of the time they say, okay, well, this seems okay, go ahead and try it. And when that happens, overwhelmingly, we have seen a positive response. And we tell people, this is not in place of a doctor's care. It is in conjunction with standard of care. We want people to do an integrative approach to health, not either or. And when we get the doctors involved, that helps educate them too, because a lot of doctors really truly mean that Hippocratic oath that they took, and they want to help their patients. And we've learned that a lot of them are too busy. They're not going to classes and learning about these particular ingredients, but they understand there is some nutritional function, nutritional component, and there is a movement to follow a more natural way to do things. So they do listen with interest. Now, they can't prescribe these things, but they can recommend them to their patients, and somebody who is seeing a doctor or under a doctor's care can bring this to their doctor and bring the information. And again, if the doctor has questions, one of us up in Alovea is willing to answer those questions. All right, any other questions? And Miss Carolyn, if you want to pop in, feel free. But I don't know if anybody has any questions that they want to ask.
Can you hear me now?
No, I can't. I'm joking, of course. Yes.
I just want to add something, and I want to thank you so much, Steve, for talking about the balance. I actually asked Steve to do this balance because I thought it's one of the most misunderstood products. And I'm so glad you were able to answer all those questions for us. The thing I like the most is the fact that it isn't in the little capsules. Sorry, it isn't in the tablet form, it's in the little capsules. Because I know so many people, they get it stuck in their throat when they swallow. And now we haven't got that problem. So I'm very grateful that you have put that in the capsules, in the capsule form. Yeah, so thank you for doing that and thinking of that.
Well, and I don't want to get too graphic and too gross with everyone, but there was a documentary done years ago where they interviewed a gentleman that owned a large porta-john business, and he and his son had just done a large event. I don't remember if it was a state fair or whatever, but they were pumping out and cleaning out the porta-johns, and they kept hearing this gravel sound through the hoses. And so after they cleaned everything out, they rinsed down this gravel and found out it wasn't gravel at all, but it was large amounts of vitamins and pharmaceutical drugs. And how did they know that they were vitamins? Because when they rinsed them off, they could still read the insignia of the manufacturer on the vitamins. That's what happens when your digestive system is not working and you compress things into a caplet. So I'm I'm not against caplets, but I'm very, very pro capsule. And that's why. Now, we had a question in there that I just saw, and somehow all the questions disappeared, but we had a question about magnesium. Somebody's taking magnesium from their practitioner. Can they replace magnesium with balance? No, magnesium is an essential mineral, but it is not in the balance. So that's not going to do that. Magnesium is something that regulates a lot of functions, potassium, magnesium, sodium. These are all things, these are all electrolytes that actually can interfere with our heart rhythm and cause arrhythmias if we are not properly supplying them to our body. So no, balance is not going to replace magnesium, but it is something that is going to aid in proper hormone function and proper hormone balance. Another question: will there be scientific studies that we can request for medical professionals, similar to a website that provides all kinds of glyco info? Well, the answer is yes. I mean, if you request those from us, we will email you these different studies. We have studies on the betalins, we have studies on the ace-mannan, and we have the different studies that have been done on diastonin and what it does in the body. And again, you can find a lot of these just by Googling them. They are out there. You Google diastonin studies and you'll see the NIH has great studies as far as specific conditions that are addressed by adding diastonin to the diet. So that is a good place to start. But otherwise, we do have scientific studies, like I said, to back up all of the science on our products. Any other questions? Anything else from you, Carolyn?
It would be good if we could somehow have one place we could go to get studies. Is that going to happen in the future?
Well, we have to be careful with that because a lot of these studies actually make specific claims, and we cannot make claims about our products. Our products don't treat, cure, or mitigate any disease. They support natural human physiology. And a lot of companies, they put up a science page with science to their products, and it may be these different studies done on these ingredients. And when that happens, they're opening themselves up to a lot of scrutiny by the TGA, by the FDA, and I don't know the Singapore equivalent, but I'm sure they have one that we have to worry about. So if you're looking for this, go ahead and email your upline leader, whoever introduced you, your social business partner leader, and they will get an email to me, because all of the leaders in Australia, Singapore, they all have my email, they all have Sam Castor's email, and they all have Jeff's email. So you can get a hold of any of us through these leaders, and we will get the answers to you as quickly as we can. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. Now we have somebody in the chat room as well. Oh, that was it. Do we send our email direct to you? Okay, so we've got that. And technically, studies are an endorsement, so there should be no problem with adding research to your website. However, when you produce these studies and they imply that your product does that, and there's case law for this. There are companies, big companies, that have been fined and prosecuted in the United States for putting such things up there. It's not something that we want to do. We are a social business. We do not want to get into any trouble with any government regulatory agency. So I understand what you're saying. We could talk about what different products do to an extent with structure and function. But the moment we put up a study, even if it was an independent study and it's on a company-owned website, we start to risk ourselves getting either fined or worse, shut down. And we don't want to do that. Okay. How is our product? Somebody asked the question how our product differs from one of our competitors, and our product's better and why. Well, I can't speak for all of our competitors. I know that, like I said, other competitors use a 12% standardized diestrogen. We use a 16% standardized diestrogen. Some of the other hormone support products that are out in the marketplace, they use Dong Quai or female ginseng, or they'll use some other form of ginseng, which is a stimulant. For me, it's important that people be able to take as many as they need to take to support their body without worrying about being awake all night, vacuuming the floor at 2 a.m. because you're bored and you don't know what else to do. For me, it's about first doing no harm and not adding those stimulants to the products. As far as our Ace Mannan product, I've explained that in other webinars. I'll explain it again tonight. We function on the specific molecular weights that are known through research to support proper macrophage activity, to support proper modulation of the immune system. When you look at these larger fractions, and Chris and Carolyn and other leaders have these studies available, there was a study independently done by a group of Korean researchers that found that there was a particular sweet spot, if you will, no pun intended, between 5,000 Daltons and 400,000 Daltons that modulate the immune system and activate the macrophage. Anything over 400,000 Daltons, it's still good for you, but it's not as good for you. It becomes short chain fatty acids. It feeds the healthy bacteria in the gut. It becomes a prebiotic. And you don't necessarily want that. Now, our competitors that focus on larger fractions, they also have some of the smaller fractions, so you will get some macrophage activity. But we focus specifically on this, and we have 4.5 to 5 times the amount of immune modulating fractions of Ace Mannan in our product than any other product that we tested in the marketplace. So that is how our product, our Ace Mannan, is better. Our diostrogen is more potent, and we don't have ginseng in our products. And I can't speak to all the other companies because, to be honest with you, I don't look at what all the other companies do. I look at the research, the science, and that's what we focus on with our products. That's where we want to be. We want the best in class in all of our products. And our cellular defense product, known as Celebrate, which we're just releasing. As a matter of fact, we just released it this week in Australia, New Zealand, and Singapore, and we will be starting to release it in the United States. By the way, we were running a special buy 3, get 1 free of either the family size or the individual size Celebrate. Our CEO, Mr. Sam Castor, generously extended that special, but only for Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, and Japan. The United States and Canada, our time is up in another hour and 15 minutes. That special will be off, and it's not coming back anytime soon. You'll only be able to purchase single bottles at that point. So this is a huge savings on this Celebrate. As a matter of fact, on the family size, you're saving 120 US dollars. On the individual size, you're saving 70 US dollars by purchasing that special. So you want to take advantage of that during this next week and get that product in. Now, that cellular defense product, that contains our ACE Mannan technology. It contains our anti-inflammatory support technology known as betalins. It's a specific class of antioxidants, comes from the beetroot, and it's a patented process that actually breaks the sugar bond from the beet. So you're only getting that flavonoid content. It's got a pycnogenol pine bark extract that is water soluble and has an extremely high ORAC value. It is one of the most potent antioxidants that we could find in the marketplace. So when you combine that with the betalin technology, with the ACE Mannan, that's phenomenal. But then you add to that the base of powdered Manuka honey. And our Manuka honey in this base is somewhere between 16 and 20 UMFs. And that is over 850 MGOs for those of you that are into Manuka honey. But Manuka honey has antibacterial properties. And according to the American Institute of Mathematical Science, in their metabolism paper, they actually published that Manuka honey has a 20-fold impact on antimicrobial and antibacterial properties versus standard honey. And we know that honey has a lot of great benefits. They found honey in the pyramids in Egypt that just within the last 50 years, they found these clay pots and the honey was still good because it doesn't spoil. It doesn't go bad. Bacteria can't grow in it. Well, we have this myriad of superbugs that are coming out, these different pathogens that are antibiotic resistant. They're smart bugs. And as they go through the whole gamut of antibiotics in their arsenal, the medical community is running out of answers for these superbugs. Well, the interesting thing is these superbugs, the bacteria, have never developed a resistance to honey, or even more specifically, Manuka honey. So having that in the product, so we have cellular defense, cellular regulation, cellular regeneration, all happening the way it's supposed to, the way our creator intended it to, by chewing up just a few of these and supplementing and supporting our body's biological needs. So I'm really excited about having Celebrate, because not only does it do good, but it tastes phenomenal. It's like eating grape or blueberry sweet tarts. It's really delicious. And you're all going to be very, very pleasantly surprised by that. So to put our 2 top technologies into one product, that's huge. But to get a third new powerful technology and then add it to our 4th powerful new technology, we have something very, very special, very, very potent in that product that people can see results with, and we can get it into the marketplace and do a lot of good with that product and nourish a lot of children at the same time. So I'm going to go back to the Q&A. Don't we want to get FDA approved? No, FDA does not approve nutraceuticals. It does not approve anything natural. Believe it or not, they are there to regulate drugs. And the FDA does oversee the way certain foods are produced, the way supplements are produced, make sure it's a clean room, clean facility, etc. But they do not actually regulate any of the vitamin, mineral, or supplement industry. Is this an MLM product? We have a special program that we call social business. And you could either become a customer, preferred customer. You can be an affiliate where you can go and refer people and earn a commission. And that's only people that you refer do you get a commission off of. Or you can choose the third option, become a social business partner and build teams and teams of teams to actually facilitate building an income, building a business. And the person who invited you to watch this can elaborate more on that. But we have a lot of different ways to participate with us in what we call the Hope Movement. Our program is what we call a Buy One, Nourish Two program. And what do I mean by that? Well, every time you purchase a product, you're nourishing yourself, but we match those serving for serving, to help children around the world who are suffering from malnutrition. We are also working with children who are suffering from malnutrition who have just been rescued from sex trafficking. We have Operation Underground Railroad. They free child slaves and childhood sex trafficking victims. They work on helping them to build their emotional health back up, their physical health back up, and they need to be supported nutritionally. And a lot of times their immune system is compromised because of the conditions that they're kept in. And we are able to provide this nutritional support through our program. Mana Relief is actually supplying these same nutrients that are found, these same technologies found in our products to these children in need. So we call it a Buy One, Nourish Two model, and we call what we do Social Business 3.0. Is the promotion extended for a week in Australia, New Zealand? Peng, I answered that. I'll answer it again. Yes. Make sure you thank Mr. Castor when you get a chance. Next time he's on one of these webinars, make sure you say thank you to him for extending it. Carolyn, Chris, Lydia, all of these people reached out. Ian, Dean, they all said, please, please extend the special. And Mr. Castor heard and he responded.
Yes.
All right. If
Cool.
there aren't any other questions, Jeff, do you have anything to add?
No, sir, but I just want to reiterate, one thing I'm so honored and proud about Alovea, and especially you and Sam, is your protective nature. I know years ago when I understood Ace Mannon and I came on board sharing with people the value of that particular sugar and others. And, we were just growing like crazy, and it just seemed like everything was fair game. And but I always said to myself, if we're not careful, then we'll have somebody that wants to attack us. And that came to be in the late 2000s. And for whatever reason, it just seemed to me like they looked for some reason, because when you have something that is this potent, this powerful, that makes this kind of a difference in people. I heard it best one time, a disruptive technology, a transformation of healthcare. That's literally going up. The biggest flow of revenue, of power in the world today is our big pharma, and our incredible doctors are on the front lines trying to help all of us. And what we have is just an incredible gift. And so I appreciate the protection of that. I know for Judy and I, we built to a point where we had an organization, that was just knocking at the door of over 100,000 people. And, but when things were not tended to, and the company was attacked, we saw our organization crumble overnight, and for many reasons. And I commend the people that were handling everything at the time. Certainly they kept the company afloat, but they did it, I think, at the cost of some of the ingredients. And there was a lot of a shift to make something more affordable and economical for the company. And so I commend all that. But the reality is we didn't think about that ahead of time. And today we do. What may be good somewhere in the world, if it's not good here, then we run the risk, because this is where we're at. And so I believe what we're going to offer the world and what we're going to do in the world is going to be unprecedented. And so while something might not seem like a big deal, when you have something this great, even the smallest inkling of issues can present a problem. And the reality is they can shut us down until they decide. They can shut us down until further notice, just to work through the details. And, we don't want to be presented in a situation where we even have 10 minutes where we can't serve people. And so I just thank you for that. I thank you tremendously, because it's great to have such a powerful product. It's great to have such incredible people that want to be a part of our movement. But if we don't have incredible leadership with the company that is very hands-on and very savvy and watching our backs, it could cost all of us everything. So I believe what we have to look forward to is again, unprecedented. And so I just believe nobody really has a situation to think about or worry about except what's ahead of them, not what's behind us all, because I want to let people know we've got the best. And thank you, Steve. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Jeff. And this brings me to my closing statement. I want to tell everybody, Alovea is a public benefit corporation. There are no shareholders that are standing there with their hand out trying to make us increase profits of this company. It was founded by two not-for-profits, Mana Relief and Nation Changers Ministries out of South Korea. And it is more important to us to serve the public and do what we're supposed to do. We're not a publicly traded company. So again, there are no shareholders that we are beholden to, that we have to think of profit first. There's nothing wrong with publicly traded companies, but they're there and their primary function is to help benefit shareholders. Here, our primary function is to nourish children. And we know that by coming up with the best technologies that we can get our hands on and getting them into the hands of people who really become passionate about what the products do in their bodies and what the products can do in the people they share with, that is what means everything to us. And if you understand, if you know Sam Castor, if you know his heart, he has 100% a heart for nourishing children and helping people who are in need and suffering. And so we will not ever compromise on the quality of the products that we put out in this company. I can guarantee you of that. So with that, I want to wish you all the best. Blessings. Have a great week, and we will see you next week at the same time. God bless.
Adios.